I've written before about the evils of civil asset forfeiture. So when I saw that Hawaii's legislature had a bill to curb this evil, vile practice, well, I just had to research it further. And we'll discuss this law next on the Constitution Study.
There's one thing you have to know wherever you make your stand. Came from a long through line of everyday Americans.
Well, hello there, everyday Americans. Paul Engel here from the Constitution Study, where we read and study the Constitution and teach the rising generation to be free. I'm glad you could join me. As always, head for that website, constitutionstudy.com. That's where you'll find everything Constitution Study, other videos. You can listen to the podcast. You can read the articles. It's all there. You'll see where I'm speaking. You can invite me to come speak to your group, either in person or over the internet. Tomorrow I will be in Bismarck, North Dakota, teaching a bunch of high school and middle schoolers about the Constitution. And it looks like it's going to be a great time. We've got quite a registration. So if you can't make it, don't worry. My plan is to turn it into an online class. It will be available in a few weeks. So with that, let's talk a little bit about Hawaii's law and civil asset forfeiture. Now, civil asset forfeiture came as a way to hit criminals where it hurts. Now, the idea may sound appealing. I mean, who wouldn't want to see criminals pay with their ill-gotten booty? Sadly, as usually is the case, theory and practice, well, they're about as different as night and day. So when I looked at this law coming out of Hawaii, I thought it was very interesting. Quote, "The legislature finds that civil asset forfeiture frequently leaves innocent citizens deprived of personal property without having ever been charged or convicted of any crime. This amounts to government-sponsored theft. The fair administration of justice means ensuring that not a single innocent individual's personal property is permanently seized without just cause and conviction or compensation. An injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, and the purpose of this act is to end civil asset forfeiture without conviction, which undermines the fair administration of justice and the rule of law." Now, I've had some complaints about what Hawaii has done in the past, but I do like this bill. You see, the gaping loophole in most civil asset forfeiture laws that I've seen is the fact that you do not even have to be charged with a crime, much less convicted, before your assets are stolen. Imagine having a law enforcement official pull you over or come to your house, claim they believe your property was acquired through criminal means, and then they take your property. No proof that it was attained illegally, not even a charge that you had done something wrong. Worse, you then find out that if you want your property back, you have to hire a lawyer and take the government who stole your stuff to court. All in a vain hope that the government-run court would find in your favor rather than the agency that worked for that same government as they did. Sound hopeless? Yeah, pretty much. Sound unfair? Absolutely. Sound unconstitutional? On so many levels. And with thousands, even millions of dollars being added to states' coffers, the chances that they would give up the gravy train were pretty low. Enter the House of the Hawaiian Legislature and House Bill 2069. Now, I am often critical of the legislation this body frequently puts out, but I have to say I like this one. Recognizing the theft possible under civil asset forfeiture laws, they propose to change them. They even recognize the duty of administering justice means the need to protect the innocent even from themselves. Civil asset forfeiture laws, as they stand, are violations of both state and U.S. constitutions, and the Hawaiian legislature has a simple way to fix that. Reestablish the rule of law by ending civil asset forfeiture without criminal conviction. The proposed change to the law seems simple enough. Quote, "No property shall be forfeited under this chapter to the extent of an interest of an owner by reason of the commission of any covered offense unless covered offense is chargeable as a felony offense under state law and owner has been convicted of the covered offense by a verdict or plea, including a no contest plea or a deferred acceptance of guilty plea or no contest plea, or An act or omission established by that owner to have been committed or omitted without the knowledge and consent of that owner, provided that nothing in this subsection shall be construed to prevent the seizure of property prior to conviction pursuant to section 712A6. Okay, that's a little legalese. In simple terms, rather than confiscating property based on an act or omission with or without the consent of the owner, the offense must be a felony and the owner must be convicted of that offense. See, if the government believes you have ill-gotten gains, they must convict you of a felony before they can keep the stuff they confiscate. Now, as I said, they may confiscate your property, but they cannot keep it unless you are convicted of the crime they claim you committed. There is one other proposed change that I find interesting. See, currently, any assets forfeited are split between the government that caused the seizure, the prosecuting attorney, and a forfeiture fund set up by the state of Hawaii. Now, that allows those doing the confiscation to profit from it, and it's a common feature in a lot of civil asset forfeiture laws. This legislation changes that a bit. See, under this legislation, funds from the sale of forfeited assets after legal and sale costs are covered are placed in the state's general fund. I still don't like the idea of governments profiting from their prosecution, but the idea that the money going to the state's general fund is less likely to encourage bad behavior from initiating the forfeiture in the first place seems to make sense to me. Is this legislation perfect? No. I do, however, find it a good start to reining in the abusive power states have inflicted on their citizens. My biggest concern is the ability of these local entities to turn a case over to a federal prosecution and then share in the bounty. That's a loophole that still exists in this legislation. Now, this loophole can be fixed, and I hope the legislatures in Hawaii will do so. I also hope legislatures in the other 49 states will follow Hawaii's example and return the concept of innocent until proven guilty to our justice system. So kudos to what Hawaii's legislature, at least the House, is trying to do. If you live in Hawaii, talk to your legislator. Support this legislation. Find out where they stand. Explain what's going on. If we live in the other 49 states, it may be worth taking a copy of this legislation and sending it to your legislature, saying, why can't we do this? Why should a person innocent of a crime have their property confiscated in violation of pretty much most of the Constitution? The point is, this is another example of a state fixing a problem in its own legislation, in its own legal system. And we should encourage that. And we should encourage other states to learn from this and do so as well. So head over to the website, constitutionstudy.com, share this article, share this video, comment, let me know. Do you live in Hawaii? Are you contacting your legislature? If you don't live in Hawaii, do you have plans to talk to your state rep and state senator and talk to them about this type of legislation? What are we doing to encourage those who represent us, who act in our name, to actually act for our benefit? You can find that information again on the website. Again, comments, questions, leave them in the social media on the website, and I'll answer whatever I can. The important thing is to, as often as I disagree with the legislature of Hawaii, with the legislation they put forward, I have to give them credit for this. And that's something we should never fail to give credit when a state does something good. So hopefully you found that interesting. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. You enjoyed it enough that you'll come back and see me the next time on the Constitution Study.
You have to know wherever you make your stand. Came from